Hey guys, Chris here. This week I've been driving this 2017 Kia Optima hybrid. It's the EX. It's a pretty loaded car. The price on this I think is close to around $37,000. MSRP starts at 30 grand for the EX hybrid. Unfortunately, the Monronah doesn't show me the exact price, but it's a little bit up there. It's a little bit pricey, but you do get a lot of features and a lot of luxury for that price. This is kind of an interesting car. It's I read a Car and Driver article that said it's a really nice mid-size sedan that just also happens to be a hybrid, and that's really a perfect way to explain this car. It's roomy, it's pretty luxurious, it has a nice big trunk and 60/40 rear folding seats. There's ice all over the place because it is freezing out here. But you've got heated and cooled front seats, heated steering wheel, radar guided cruise control, lane keep assist, all the goodies. Let's take a look at the back seat here. Lots of legroom. You can see you've got this nice big panoramic sunroof up here. Set to my driving position at 5'10". I have just tons of space back here. Really no complaints with the rear seat. Nice armrest and cup holders. You sit very comfortably, your arms are even. And you have this little sunshade if you so please. It's not the automatic kind, but you do have rear seat heaters here as well next to the window switch, which is always welcome. Get a couple of outlets here, USB and just a regular 12-volt outlet. Nice place to be, nice visibility, decent amount of headroom. And when it's not filthy with salt, this red is a really nice color. You've got this classic Kia startup chime. So in a previous video, someone mentioned to leave the car on this energy flow meter, so that's what we're going to do today. We've still got to warm up a little bit, so the engine's probably going to stay on for a little while, just until things get some temperature into them. But this is a really nice driving car. This is a conventional automatic instead of the usual CVT you see with hybrids, and it drives nicely. It drives a little bit better in practice than the Kia Niro that I had last week with a dual clutch transmission. So this automatic is just a lot smoother. It's just a lot more fluid, and it does a really nice job. It puts enough power down. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it definitely is quick enough for the daily drive. And I can't really comment too much on fuel economy. It's been so cold out that it's been taking the car just forever to warm up, and ultimately you're really not going to be able to use the hybrid feature until the car's really warmed up and you're getting some heat coming through the HVAC. And that said, though, for hybrid, this has a really nice HVAC system, so I can get a lot of heat out of this. The heated steering wheel warms up quickly. The seats are really nice. In winter driving, this is just a nice place to be. The only drawback in winter driving is that these eco tires do not do well in the snow, especially actually any kind of snow. It's fine in low temperatures, it's fine in the wet, but once you throw some precipitation in there and a little bit of white stuff, it just doesn't do it. There's virtually no traction with these eco tires. So I definitely recommend getting winter tires if you're considering this car as a year-round driver in a cold climate. Nice visibility, really soft, supple ride from this Optima. It isn't necessarily, like I said earlier, it's not very inspiring to drive, but it's smooth, it's luxurious. Really my only complaint from a driving dynamics perspective is the brake pedal is a little bit squishy. It's a little bit vague, but it's not as bad as some of the other hybrid brake pedals. It still does the job. I think ultimately the transition from regen to the actual brake pad touching the rotor is fine. It's it feels a little bit digital. That said, the brakes work well. There's plenty of bite. And I mean, the handling is fine. There isn't really any problem with it. There's a little bit of body roll, a little bit of that sidewall squish from the Eco tires. Here we are in EV mode. Engine kicks on here. I've mostly been driving this around in Eco mode all week. It seems to be a pretty nice setting. There is a normal and a sport mode. Eco, though, isn't debilitatingly economical. You can actually, it seems like you can enjoy driving the car, and it's not going to be completely robbing you of power everywhere. It's a very drivable mode. You can put the HVAC in. It's got an economy mode for that as well, which I'm sure saves some miles per gallon, but ultimately it is what it is. On the highway, this is pretty quiet, pretty comfortable, pretty smooth. I think this would be a really nice long-distance cruiser. Again, can't really speak to gas mileage just because of how cold it's been outside. Hybrids do not like cold weather. And you do have some neat little displays. So you've got a battery low and high function there on the gauge. No tachometer, but you can tell if you're in the regen with braking, and basically you have kind of an eco power meter with how much power you're putting down. And then of course you've got all the energy flow stuff here with the infotainment. The engine in this is always seeming pretty quiet, pretty understressed. It's a nice power plant that just kind of works in the background. It's maybe not as responsive as I would like off the line, but once you get going, the hybrid motor, which I think is around 50 horsepower, does add just a little bit of throttle response to everything and makes things seem a little bit more perky. Let's stop here and take a little bit of a look at some of the infotainment and just features around the car. I like the leather on the steering wheel. It seems like with a heated steering wheel, pretty much everything is heated throughout. There aren't hot spots, so to speak, and it's not burning my hands off like some of the other cars I've had recently. So looking here, you've got a nice infotainment system that's responsive. Kia's doing a really good job with these days. They work well. You can see your climate controls. And then of course you've got all your buttons down here where you can pretty much control climate with just these knobs. You don't really have to go into the infotainment for anything specifically. You can see this week I've gotten about 29.6 mpg. Haven't been doing that great. I think ultimately you could probably get around 35, 38 on the combined cycle. I don't know about real world, but that's what it's showing me on the readout. Looks like you've got some customizable menus where you can add most often used features. You've got a lot of storage here. Nothing really to fit a larger iPhone 7 Plus. This kind of works here, but when you have the shifter and drive, it blocks if you're using Waze or something like that. It does fit pretty nicely in here though. And cup holders, it fits, but it's not going to stay in there too well. Removable tray in the center armrest area. Got a place up here to store some sunglasses, and then of course your controls for the huge roof there. These guys slide and give you lots of blockage of sunlight, which is always welcome. And the reverse camera, when it doesn't have snow or salt on it, is nice and high res, and it's got a nice turning feature where you can pretty much see where your lines are. You can place the car very accurately when you're backing out, which is always nice. One strange thing that I have noticed is with the windshield wipers. So when you have the windshield wipers in this mode, or just normal, they're off, you can't lift them up to clean them. Or let's say if it's snowing or raining and you want to set the windshield wipers at the vertical point while the car is parked, you can't do that. So I'm not sure if you have to lift the hood up to get the windshield wipers, or if there's some type of wiper maintenance mode that in here or something, but you really can't lift up the wipers without coming in contact with the hood. And you can see in some parts where some paint has been scraped off on this car, where people have tried to lift the wipers up and it's just scratched off some of the paint, which is kind of a strange issue. Lots of controls down here: heated steering wheel, cooled and heated seats, which are always nice. Unfortunately, you can't turn them both on at the same time. That would be the pinnacle of luxury, but unfortunately, this is just the Kia Optima. And in your dash here, you've got quite a few displays. You've got your settings. You can customize, door locking, lights, sound, and convenience, all this good stuff. Lots of customized features that you can go through. It'll tell you your driving style, your energy flow meter, MPG. There is a lot of range. I think it's well over 550 miles of range from a tank of gas in this. This is a pretty large fuel tank. And you've got your speedometer, you've got your GPS, your lane keep assist systems, radio, engine temperature, all of that good stuff. The radar guided cruise control on this works pretty well. Really no complaints. It can follow pretty closely, which is kind of cool. So you might want to dial that back just a little bit. Some of these systems are a little bit too much. They're a little bit of a scaredy cat in that they won't follow the car in front of you too closely, but this is an exception to that rule. So I think that's about all I want to say about this during the day. You can get a pretty good idea for what the cabin on this looks like. Let's switch to night mode here, and we'll show you guys what the headlights look like and what this thing is like to drive in the dark. Alright, here we are, many hours later. It's dark, and here's the Kia Optima at night. As you can see, we have fantastic headlights. They have a nice, cool tone to them, pretty good height, and really, really nice visibility. I will say this week, this car has just made a fantastic daily driver. I think fuel economy numbers overall are on the low end, but if you go into that knowing that, it's all about kind of your expectations. And this isn't necessarily going to be the most fuel efficient hybrid out there, but it does just make a really nice daily driver. I would almost kind of liken it a little bit to the Lexus ES200H, or was it the ES300H? I can't remember, but it's maybe just a little bit less boring, and it's very comfortable, very quiet, very just a nicely rounded, comfortable sedan. It's very cold right now because it's been sitting outside. So I doubt we'll even dip into hybrid mode, but you guys have already got an idea of what it's like to drive. With a day drive, I just wanted to take you around for a little bit of a cruise at night tonight. Over some of these big bumps, it's pretty soft, pretty supple, nice and quiet, no rattles, no shakes. The car feels nice and stiff. Let's pull over here, I'll show you what the headlights look like. Oh boy. said earlier, very little traction in the snow. These tires just don't have a lot of grip, unfortunately. Really bright LEDs in the cabin. It really illuminates everything. Quite nice, actually. You can see if you've forgotten anything. Yeah, tons of light. I do like how quiet the engine is. For a hybrid, it really does fall into the background. Sometimes these engines turn on and they're a little bit noisy, a little bit rough, a little bit unrefined feeling, but that's not the case here, which is definitely appreciated. Oh, just no traction in the snow. Absolutely none. I went up north this weekend for New Year's, and I just couldn't. I really wanted to take this car up there because it was a long drive and it would have just been very comfortable, very spacious, but I just didn't trust it in the snow, and I knew that Traverse City was going to get a ton of snow. These are definitely not four-season tires, that's for sure. One thing I haven't quite done is checked out the manual shifting mode. Not really sure it's worth it. Shifts are pretty quick, it works. I doubt anyone driving these cars will really ever dip into that. Oh yeah, much increased throttle response from in sport mode. Alright guys, that's about all I have to say about the Kia Optima. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. It's been fun driving this all week. Just nice daily driver. I think I've got a little bit of a break from press cars for a couple weeks, and we'll see if we can get into something else here soon as well. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in another video. Take care.